Hello, Braves countries. Coach Ken Anderson, Coney for Hardcore Braves. We got our special coaches corner fans roundtable, and I was scared to death for Fourth of July. We weren't going to be able to pull it off, but we did. We had three. Chris Birdsall is not going to make it. He's in Florida coaching, and they got rained out this morning making it up. But we got two really good baseball guys. I like to talk in baseball with both of them. One of them is Adolfo. Adolfo's from El Paso. Adolfo, how you doing today?
Ken, how are you? Awesome.
I'm doing good. We won a game last night. I'm always better
Absolutely.
when we
And
win,
against
so
the
that was
Mets
good.
even better.
It's awesome. I put out a Twitter thing, and I know most everybody's seen it with Senga and Torrens watching Olson's last home run. It's priceless. It's going to be my meme the rest of the season for the Mets. It was great. Uh, Clark's from North Carolina. How you doing, Clark?
Great, coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So the other guys on the fans roundtable had it easy. Braves were rolling. So these two guys are real pros here. They're going to come in here talking about a month that we didn't roll. We got off to a 5-1 start, had a great homestand against two really good teams in Toronto and Pittsburgh. Now, Toronto's been struggling, but they have a lot of talent, and Pittsburgh's a real solid team. And then Monday I think it was Tuesday in Chicago, Ronald gets hurt. And that really changed everything for us. It seemed like we go 4-13. Overall thoughts, Adolfo, in the month of June.
It was most to say the least, but yeah, I think the Ronald Acuna injury was huge. Um, they go, the Braves go as the Braves go as Ronald goes, and I know that he wasn't hitting hitting a ton, but it's a big difference at the top of the lineup, man. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, just his presence alone scares pitchers. We all might know he might be trying to get back to his full potential, but they remember pitching to him when he was his full potential. So overall, Clark, bad month, one of the worst months we've had. Even last year's team didn't have a stretch like we did through 4-13. What were your impressions of June for the Braves?
Same as Adolfo said. I think the importance of Acuna really shows, but also pitching, lack of pitching depth, I think, and just the injuries catching up to us has been huge. And, relying on those young guys, but need another arm or two, I think, to get us over the hump here going forward, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think that AA is finding out a lot about this ball team, and I think we'll get into all that when we get to the trade deadline and all that stuff. But he's really learning a lot about this team. You're already seeing little moves that he's making. We had another transaction today, I think, going toward that way. But let's get into the team. Let's first talk about the hitting before we get into the pitch. We had a lot of stuff on the pitching side that was bad. Like to Clark's point, we had the injuries. We had guys get a little fatigued. One of those guys has been a bulldog for us for 3.5 years. So anybody who gets upset at him does not realize what he has meant to us. He has really been a bulldog, and it's probably about time we get tired. We'll get to him in a minute. Worst team OPS since 1988, 579. Only two guys have really had good months. Mauricio Dubon and Matt Olson were both over 750. Ozzie and Harris were over league average. League average is 714. Everybody else, the next highest OPS was Eli White at 626. Offensively, we just could not get anything going. And the worst case was we hit 138 with runners in scoring position the last 17 games. So we were like one or two hits away from actually probably having a 500 month, Adolfo. So offensively, what did you see in the month of
Jake
June?
Baldwin going 2 for 41. That was rough. Um, and I think obviously first game back hit the home run, and after that it was a struggle. And actually, the concerning part was that he had a lot of swing and miss. I think he struck out 18 or 19 times out of those offers, and it's not like him. Drake doesn't strike out like that. And whether he was rushed, whether he was rushing himself, whether it was maybe he wasn't ready to come back. I don't believe he was injured. I just think that the time off that he had, it took a lot out of him. And, these guys, all they do is play. and trying to rebuild your swing or trying to get your swing back at this level, it's really, really hard.
Really is, and I warned everybody. He's coming back from an oblique injury. That is one of the toughest injuries to come back from. Clark, you know that swing in here. If you got an oblique, it's tough. I don't think anything was injured. I think he was healthy. He's just trying to come back. 2 for 43. So basically, they went through the last 17 games without Ronald Acuna and Drake Baldwin. Clark, that was probably the reason we had a bad OPS, don't you think?
I would say so. Weren't they both like top 5 MVP candidates before they both got hurt? I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
losing a ton right there. And they're both 1 and 2 in the order. So just seeing that happen makes it real tough to replace. And that just filters down the lineup the way they can pitch to everyone else. That the 9-hole hitter is going to see better pitches. They're going to pitch to Olson and Harris more and Ozzie because they're seeing more pitches because those guys are on base. So, just filters down the whole lineup.
Yeah, Matt got pitched around the whole last 17 games, and it messed kind of Matt up. Hopefully, we're filming this after last night's win against the Mets where he hits 2 home runs. Matt looked like he was mad finally last night. I've seen that look. He played with my son, and he got that look in his eyes, and looks like he may be fixing to go on a tear. Even his foul balls last night were all rockets. I mean, you could tell he's about ready. I think him playing bad defensively made him mad. Also, offensively, we'll go ahead and get into this question. Everybody's talking about it. We got those two down. Everybody's pitching around Matt because Big 2-7 is really in the biggest funk. Now, we talked before we come on air. Dolphin made a good point. I'll let him make it again. But we had a great player last year that did this exact same thing. And when he got to the All-Star break and he got 3 days off, I know y'all not wanting to wait to the All-Star break, but he got 3 days off. He took off in the second half. Adolfo, you want to remind everybody who that was?
That would
Can we
be
see this?
probably
Austin?
the starting center fielder for the National League this year, unless something goes bad. His name is Michael Harris. I think Michael last year was completely lost, and it looked bad. But whoever it was, probably told him, look at your hands, man. Look at your hands. Look at the way you were 2 years ago to where you are now. He made that adjustment, and the kid has not stopped hitting.
Been phenomenal. He's probably been him and Matt have been the 2 best players with Ozzie. Ozzie's right in there too, and then Mauricio's been the big surprise. Those 4 have been our best players this year. Clark, I was listening to the Mets. I like to listen to the other team's call of our games because we get a real honest opinion on how they see us. And Keith Hernandez brought up the point. It's the same thing I'm saying. We used to always teach our kid where the knob of the bat goes is where the rest of your body is going to drive it. And right now, Austin's knob of the bat is doing this. It's turning toward left field. So that's taking his hips off of it. And he's not hitting the ball to right center. And even Austin has said repeatedly, when he goes well, he hits the ball toward the State Farm sign. He's not doing it right now. So, Clark, do you see the same thing in him?
From my standpoint, yeah, I would say so. He needs to just focus more, from my opinion. It's hard to say that from sitting on the couch, but it seems like a mental issue. It's not physical. Then again, it might be with all the injuries he's had the last few years, trying to adjust to those. But just trying to adjust to those, I think, just settling back into a positive mindset and getting out of the negative thoughts is really the hardest thing to do, I think. But that's what needs to be done because he has the physical traits.
Yeah, and he's the reason he's paid so much is because when he goes, if he goes, we don't lose. We put it out before on the preseason. When he goes well, we win 78% of our games. So if he gets hot, we're going to take off. One other thing on Austin too is he's coming back from the core surgery. I did some research on that. We put it on the podcast a couple podcasts ago. That is the hardest injury, the length and time to come back to your natural swing. We already seen the effects of a oblique injury on Drake, and now you're seeing a whole surgery. So let's give Austin a little time. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but Really, give him a little bit more time. And as long as we're in first place, it doesn't really matter, guys. It doesn't really matter. We'll need him to go once and now the Phillies are close, so let's get him going. On the pitching side in June, man, everything could go wrong, going wrong. The only two things that went well is Chris Sale and Martin Perez continue to pitch well. They're both on the ends of the rotation. Chris Sale's the number one, and Martin Perez is our number 5. You could not ask any more out of those two pitchers, Adolfo. They pitched well in June. What do you guys say about Chris Sale and
Well,
Martin
let's
Perez?
start. Let's start with Martin Perez because that guy's a dog. And what I mean by that is that he has been asked to start. He has been asked to relieve. He has been asked to come in as a like a long man, and the guy has not complained one single bit. I mean, obviously, I'm not around, but the guy just pitches and he does what he needs to do. I think he has kept the Braves in so many games, giving them a lot of quality starts and stuff. And not much we can say about the guy. The guy's he just goes out and pitches. Chris Sale, it's Chris Sale. That guy is just on another level. Yes, you look at his record, 8-5, but he hasn't gotten a lot of run support too. Over his last 4 or 5 starts, and maybe the last start, the guys were throwing the ball around behind him and stuff. It just didn't it was kind of a weird start too, by the way. But Chris Sale is Chris Sale. Chris Sale will always be Chris Sale, and hopefully tonight he goes a strong 7 innings tonight and shoves tonight against the Mets.
Chris Sale, we play our worst ball behind right now. Either we don't hit or play bad defense. So hopefully we'll get that fixed. Clark, those two guys had really good months, and I'll let you jump in real quick, and we'll ask Adolfo about this. And the other thing that was really good in June, we probably could have had a worse month, to be honest with you, with OPS of 579. The bullpen had a 2.69 ERA in a month. So Chris Sale, Martin Perez, bullpen, excellent in June. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, Perez was amazing, and Sale obviously amazing. And they're just eating up the innings too. Even if we don't win behind them, they're still saving the bullpen for those other nights, which has just been huge for us, I think. Credit to the other guys too. They've eaten their innings as well. Maybe not as efficiently, but they've done their job. And the bullpen's just incredible. I love a good bullpen. It's my favorite part of the team, really. It's the most underappreciated, but to my opinion, it's the most important. So I love seeing a good bullpen, and they've just been amazing. So,
yeah, they've been lights out.
What we can do to keep that up is what we want to do.
Yeah, getting Suarez healthy. I like they did to Kenley. They gave Kenley 2 weeks off. Kenley's come back. Now he hung a slider against the Cardinals. Guys, that's going to happen. You're not going to be perfect. But I think getting Suarez, getting his arm rest too is big, Adolfo. The one guy in the bullpen that we think is going to definitely go to the All-Star game is Dylan Lee. The other guy should get in is Iglesias. What are your thoughts on the bullpen?
I think Dylan Lee is, besides the other night, it was a rough start. I mean, rough inning, but I think everybody had a rough night that night. And, it was expected. This bullpen's not going to be perfect the whole year, 162 games. And good. They got it out their way. They got it out of their system. It's over. It's done with. Iglesias has been just Iggy. Last night, there was a couple, pitches that he probably wanted back, especially the one against Bichette, maybe the one against Soto. But he got through it. He had a 3-run lead. There's another guy there that has come back differently is Didier Fuentes. I mean, this kid last year got called up at the ripe old age of almost 19, 20 years old, and he didn't look like he does now. He looked like a 19-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid last year on the mound, completely not ready. And this year he came back, and he looks different, stronger, mind's better, and his stuff is it's just elite stuff coming off that mound.
Clark, I was going to ask you about him. He's, I think we're going to talk to the trade deadline a little bit, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But if there's one untouchable of the young prospects, it's probably Didier. Isn't it, Clark? He looks like he's going to be the real deal. He's the real deal. So what do you think about Didier? Is he going to he'll be a reliever the rest of the year? We know that. Do you think eventually he'll go into the starting rotation, or are we looking at our future closer?
I would think the goal would be a future ace, right? It's more
Yeah,
valuable than a closer, but
yeah,
kind of depends on how he grows out and protect that arm. I mean, most young guys have troubles these days, so that's the main key is keeping him safe. And wherever you're using him, you want to have him electric. So um, I would
yeah. I
think
agree.
the goal would be starter though in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I
That's just
agree.
my guess.
I think he's more valuable as a starter. I would love him as a closer, but I think with Sale getting older, he slots into being that one or two. All right, the one starter. Look, we can jump on what was Holmes, what was Richie, what was all of them. Okay, look, guys, they're giving us the best they can, and they're moving them all over the place. By the way, J.R. Ritchie just got called up again. Anthony Molina, appreciate your service. You didn't show it, but you did get us that one extra day, so J.R. can come up. And so JR is here. He's replacing Hassan Kim, though he can't come up for an injury. Hassan Kim's going to the IL. Some of us hate that he's hurt, but not too upset about him going to the IL. And Kyle Farmer's back. But with that note, the one pitcher that we've been counting on the first 2 months, but the June was horrible for him. Over 90 ERA was Bryce Elder. He has a little arm fatigue. He was the guy I said, do not say a word. For 3.5 years, he's been our bulldog. He's took the ball every inning. Dafo, hopefully a little rest, he'll get Bryce back. What do you think about Big
Big
Texas?
Texas is Big Texas. I think there's a lot of people on Twitter that jump on him and they want him, you know, DFA'd and they want him released and they want him this. But look, that guy takes the ball every single time. Yeah, his last 6 or 7 starts have been absolutely not good. But somehow he keeps us in games. I think that maybe skipping him a starter or two, maybe that'll help. I mean, we don't know. I don't think he may be hurt. He may not be hurt, but he takes the ball every single time that he gets called upon. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think I don't think he's hurt. I think he's just arms get tired and he may need to miss. That's what they're doing with him. They did the same thing with Kenley and Suarez. Eventually put him on the IL because they're not still missing many days. J.R. Ritchie's coming up to throw out of the bullpen. If he's not used out of the bullpen, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't just plug him in to start for Elder's start and let Elder stay out through the All-Star break as well. Then him and Suarez and all them can come back. Clark, what are your thoughts on Big Texas, Bryce Elder?
Everything Adolfo said, really, he's just been a bulldog the last few years. It's probably just fatigue too. I don't think it's a real injury. I'd maybe just give him a week or two off here before the All-Star break. Not a bad idea. Miss a start or two if we can,
Yeah.
and see if he can come back healthy and one of the better starters in the National League like he was for the second half.
Yeah. 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 For between the second half last year and the first 2 months this year, he was probably top 5 starter in baseball. So that's how good he threw. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. So not a lot. We broke it down June for you. That's what it looks like. So let's get to the good stuff now. Okay. So what do we need to do to get better? I think it's pretty obvious we need to hit the ball better with runners in scoring position. Drake has to be fully healthy. He looks better the last 3 games. Ronald Acuna is slotted in to come in after the All-Star break. What an influx of talent if it ends up being Elder, Suarez, Acuna, all of them come back at the end of the All-Star break. What are your expectations on July, Adolfo, for this ball club?
I think they hold Chip. I think they hold on. I actually think that we can build a maybe 5 or 6 game lead on the Phillies. They I we sh- I'm expecting a 3 out of 4 against the Mets. I think the Phillies lose a couple in Kansas City this weekend, and going forward, I believe that they hold on. 5 or 6 game lead going into the All-Star break would be great, and I believe that Austin Riley this weekend does something special.
I hope so. I hate to use a Chip Carey line, but it'd be like making a trade
Correct.
without making
Yeah,
a
yeah.
trade if Austin Riley
I
gets
remember
his.
that.
Yeah, that was his favorite line. I remember Bray's
Oh,
Twitter
forever.
hated that
Yeah.
line. He just blow up everything. Yeah. So Clark, a lot of stuff could be happening good. Matt Olson Burner is a good friend of mine, and I'm going to be at the ballpark with him. I gave him a hard time. He thought the Braves would be out of first place by already by now. I said there's not a chance. I also think they're going to have a 5-game lead when it gets to the All-Star game. Are you that confident that by the time we roll All-Star game, go to Philly, we're going to be 5 games up on the Phils?
I'll go with yes, but five's, I think we're up 4 right now, I believe, or something around there. Yeah, I would say so. We got the Mets, so we should win those games, and then we're not going to the West Coast, and that seems to always kill us. So, yeah, I'm pretty confident with that. Philly's got to cool off a little bit here too.
Yeah, they're going through a 9-game road trip too. They go to Kansas City, Cincinnati, and I think it's Detroit at the end of it. So hopefully Tarek Skubal will be pitching that weekend. That'll be a good thing. Hopefully they get Chase Burns in Cincinnati, and they get Michael Waka in San Francisco. Already that's probably 3 losses, so that helps us right there. So we'll see. All right, so with July, if we're up 5 at the All Star break, even if we're just up in the division, that's going to make Alex say, okay, yeah, we can go for it. All right, before we get to the trade deadline, what were your expectations before the year started, Adolfo? And have they changed? Have they got better with this team as far as postseason aspirations, or have they got lessened with the team that you've seen?
I think the aspirations are the same. I think that yes, we're not going to be 10.5 games up on the Phillies, but I didn't think that was going to hold because the Phillies are the Phillies and they were going to, you knew that they played better. But, and every team goes through it, but I think if they can, I think they do hang on, maybe a 5-game lead at the All-Star break. And I think as soon as they come back, you get some of those guys back, important pieces that you need back. They go on a tear. I think they're going to go on a tear, and they may not win the division by 10 games, but it'll be a comfortable lead.
So if you think we win the division, are we going to be able to run I don't think we can run the Dodgers down. The Dodgers are just going to blow everybody. Can we run the Brewers down and get a bye in the first round of the
I think
playoffs,
so.
Adolfo?
I think we still have
Okay.
I think we have games in Milwaukee left against them. I don't know if it's a 3 or 4 game series against them up there, but I think we can catch them. I think we do catch them actually.
Yeah, Milwaukee's got a great pitching staff, but they do kind of have these funky moments with their hitters. So hopefully we'll get them in a downturn. I also think we will catch them. So if you look at the ball team right now, as constructed, we haven't added anybody. Are they good enough to beat the Dodgers in the NLCS?
Not right now. I think they're
Okay.
an arm or two and possibly one more bat from catching them, or from beating
Okay.
them. I'm sorry. And can we beat them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we're gonna need two. We're gonna need a couple dogs there in front of along with Chris Sale to make them sweat in the postseason.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good analysis. So Clark, we started before the season. We've known each other, and we said, well, if we stay healthy, and we think we can actually go somewhere, and we have not stayed healthy, Clark. But we're 51-35, and have the 4th best record in baseball, right behind the Rays and close to the Brewers. So your aspirations, I know with all the injuries, once Schwellenbach went down and Strider went down, they probably changed a little bit. So where are your aspirations pre and now where they at now, and how do you think we're doing the postseason?
Preseason, I'd say they're about equal to where they are now. I know they spiked there the first couple months, thinking we owned the world there, but we've come back down to earth, and I think they're back down to where we kind of started the season, where if we can stay healthy, we know we can beat anybody and compete with anybody. But that is the key, is staying healthy. We're not quite as deep as the Dodgers. We're a little bit more dependent on those handful of top guys. So if they're not there, I think we're going to struggle. And I think it does come down to getting another arm or two to pair with Sale to compete in those series. Whether it's with Skubal or someone else, you need somebody else. Whether it's Schwellenbach or Smith-Shawver coming back or somebody, we need somebody, or even Lopez step up, be that other starter. We need somebody to kind of be a shutdown number 2. So I think that's huge for us. So if we can do that, I think we can beat and compete with anybody because it is baseball. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we've made a very big case on hardcore. They just don't have a number two starter, and it's hard to win in the postseason with a number two. I do think Reynaldo learning the curveball could probably be our number three as we go forward. We already know he can pitch that well. He had a 1.99 ERA a couple years back. So let's get to the trade deadline. I agree with you. I think we all three on the same page. Probably need to add a couple arms. How you do that is probably dependent on how well Holmes throws, how well Richie throws, how well Waldrop throws, to see whether who goes in the bullpen, who can start, how well Elder comes back. But we definitely know we need at least two. And then I'm like you. I think adding some sort of bat to the mix will help. Um, so Adolfo, if you had your look, now we pointed out that the five big names on the trade market, Tarek Skubal, Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray, Logan Webb, and Reed Detmers. Well, I don't care what, don't listen to the national media. They're all doing that little thing. They're all five going to be in play to some sort of extent. Now, whether how much they want to get for them, you make a trade, that's between negotiations, but all five will be in play. Of those five, which one would you like to have as your number two? And there's another arm out there that you'd like to come into the rotation or even into the
Uh,
bullpen.
of course, everybody wants Tariq, right? Tariq Skubal. Everybody wants him, right? Will they get him? I don't know. What they're going to ask for, I have no idea. I have no clue. That elbow injury worries me. But the guy that I would love to have is Sonny Gray from the Red Sox. I think Sonny Gray would fit perfectly right behind Chris Sale. And if you can get him, that would stabilize that rotation like no other. Yes, you love Tariq, and yes, you love Joe Ryan, and I don't know if the Twins are even going to sell. I don't know. Reed Detmers possibly, but Sonny Gray is the guy that I would actually go after. If he's out there, go get him.
Yeah, he wants to be a Brave too. That's always a good thing when they want to come here. He's been wanting to be a Brave for years. Clark, those big five, which one of those you think is the one that would really fit behind Sale and give us a chance to beat the Dodgers?
It has to be Scooble to me. I know the other three or four would be great choices, and they'd give us a great possibility. But I mean, none of them are an ace like Scooble. And it shouldn't be too high of an asking price because we're only getting them for like the rest of the year. So all you really have to technically do is beat a qualifying offer in whatever offer somebody else can throw out there. So I think that's if we really want to try to have a one and two ones ace, really, you got to get Scooble in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that I do. I will say I think if the Twins ever do go in seven, I think Joe Ryan
Yeah,
is pretty close. Joe Ryan, where he throws the ball, is weird. It's hard for hitters, and it's at the perfect point to pitch well in the postseason. But again, the Twins are a funny team. We have no idea. The Twins one day think they are sellers, they don't think they're sellers. So we'll see when it gets August 3rd. The other thing is, as far as that second tier, if the kids all pitch well and Holmes and Elder pitch well, then you go get a bullpen piece. That could be somebody like Garrett Whitlock if the Red Sox decide to sell, or Sam Moll from the Reds and people like that. If they go for the starter and they need to put Holmes in the bullpen, Michael Waka is out there. Michael Waka would be a perfect fit to be a 4 or 5 starter for us to eat innings. Uh, what are your thoughts on that, Adolfo? If all of a sudden it gets to where we need to get somebody, and they bring in Michael Waka as a second
I
starter.
think Michael Walker would fit in well. I think, and I actually think Grant Holmes, in my opinion, just me, he he seems and looks better when he comes out of the pen. I think he just goes out there and pitches. I think last night did wonderful. I think he pitched really well last night. But I think long term for October, September, October time, I think Grant Holmes could do would be would fit wonderfully in that bullpen. And then you could bring in a guy like Michael Walker or another guy that would be able to fit into that, five or the number five spot, in my opinion.
Another guy would be Abbott.
Correct.
Abbott from Cincinnati. The Reds are free falling a little bit, and he'd be a great one to bring in. Clark, What are your thoughts on that about getting another bullpen arm or putting Holmes? I think most of Braves country, including Alex, knows that Holmes is a reliever. He went on 680 a fan and said if all things were even, Holmes is going to the bullpen. They have not been even for 2 years. Everybody's been hurt in the starting rotation, and what Grant's done for the Braves needs to be applauded by everybody in Braves country. He's done what we needed him to do. He wants to be a starter, but you can tell he's a better in the bullpen. So, Clark, what are your ideas on getting another arm or adding another bullpen piece?
I think that's a great idea. Anybody that I would look for a starter that could get through the first time through the order very well. I think for a playoff game, you could then bring in Holmes and Fuentes and fill out a game that way. And I don't really know who those people are, but that's who I would kind of look into, is that a guy that could get through 2 or 3 innings solidly without much trouble. And then like an innings eater too, like a Waka that would also fill into the 4 or 5 would be great. But in the playoffs, Holmes would be a great guy to come in and fill in 3 innings, like a bullpen game and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think that's a perfect slot for him.
Yeah, I think Holmes is going to pitch big innings in the postseason, being that guy when our starters get in trouble, third, fourth inning, he's going to come in and shut it down. He's really tough. First time hitters see him and his off speed, they can't hit it. We all think we should add some sort of bat. Now, look, Joe Adele, Jorge. I don't want Jorge Soler. I'd love to have Jorge, but Jorge, I don't know where we play him. We can't play him
I don't think
nowhere.
anyone on the bench wants him either, Coach. After
Yeah,
they
so
fought with him earlier this year.
yeah, what we're gonna do? Walt's gonna have to sit on him. I mean, that'd been interesting. They did bring in Jorge, and him and Reynaldo had to sit next to each other on the bench. But but Joe Odell, guys like that. Now look, I hate to keep picking on Cincinnati. You know, everybody's going to go talk Buxton, but that's going to cost an arm and a leg, especially to go get Ryan. And again, I don't want to talk Twins anymore. The Twins don't know what they're doing. But the Reds free fall. There's a guy named Spencer Steer who'd be perfect for us. He hits 318 against left-handed pitching with a 906 OPS. Reds have tons of guys like Spencer Steer. I think we could get him. That's just the name I'm going to throw you, Adolfo. If you got anybody else, this is the place. What's a right-handed bat?
Right-handed bat, and I think you're right. It has to be a right-handed bat. And the other day, it just kind of like in passing, I thought about Jake McCarthy, but he's a lefty, but out of Colorado. Spencer Steer would be a great addition. Joe Adele may be another great addition. I know people in Braves country are fascinated with a Buxton Joe Ryan to Atlanta. That's not. We don't even know. Like, let's stop with that. It'd be wonderful, right? But it's not going to happen. It'd be rough. It'd be tough. But yes, a Spencer Steer bat would fit well in Atlanta. Another power bat, and he kills left-handed pitching.
Guy people want Clark is Taylor Ward. I'm not sure if he'll fit any from the Orioles. Any other body out there that you can think of? Now, look, I love the McCarthy kid out of Colorado, but again, I think the Braves are going to look for a right-handed bat in this spot. His OPS is not terrible against left-handers. It's still over league average, but it takes a 200-point drop out of Colorado, and that worries me a little bit about McCarthy. But Clark, anybody you got on your radar?
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. No, unfortunately, they come prepared for that one.
Well, it's just tough because there's not a lot. Part of the problem, we're going to bring this up again. Every podcast, every trade edition show, everybody's wanting the same thing in Major League Baseball. They need a starting pitcher, 8 innings. They like to have it be a top end pitcher. They need relief help. They need a right-handed bat. Guess what's not out there, guys? Not a lot of right-handed bats. So the price is probably going to go up. So we really need somebody to step up. Now, look, is that Jim Jarvis and Mateo stepping up at shortstop so Mauricio can just play left field? That would be ideal. That would be like Mauricio, just go play left field. When Ronnie gets back, that's going to be huge. I think Alex is doing it right. Let's see what it looks like when Ronnie gets back. Let's see what the offense looks like. What are your thoughts, Adolfo? I think the Braves need to do anything to get Ronnie back, Suarez back, get everybody back, and then they can make a decision. What about you?
There's another person or another player that we have that I know he may be still a ways off to coming back, but Sean Murphy is there. I know everybody forgot about him because he's been hurt the last couple of years, but I think maybe Obviously, he's not going to start over Drake. We know that, but you never know. He could come in, and he, sadly, he can't get enough at bats prior to the All Star break. But maybe you can see him fitting in certain situations that can help. But that's a player maybe that we're kind of not talking about because he's still a little bit ways off from coming back from injury.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, Murphy's going to come back. Me and Bo Bo put out, and I put out. Looks like around the trade deadline, he's hammering that right in the mouth. So we're not going to have any intel on Sean other than he's still one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. So he could be a good backup for us. Clark, what about you? You think that Alex has got it right in the honey-o here? Let Austin and see what he does through the month of July. Ronnie gets back, Suarez gets back, and AJ Smith-Sharver will be closer too. That's going to help. And I think he'll be able to make some good decisions. How about you?
I think so. I trust Alex so far. What he's done the last 8 years or whatever it's been. So I think there's no need to panic. There's still time, plenty of time to figure something out there. Let the month play out, and figure out where you want to put Mateo and Dubon. I liked what I've seen from both of them. I'd give Jarvis a little bit more time too. I liked what I saw the other night from him.
Yeah,
I would fill it out
thinking
that way.
about.
I wouldn't. There's no huge names that's really going to change the landscape of the team, in
Right.
my opinion. So I wouldn't panic and make any rash decisions on that end, other than maybe a Scooble. But you're only getting a few months of him, so still nothing crazy there.
Yeah, I think they're going to eventually trade and get a number two starter. I think that's going to be their priority, and I do think they're going to try to find, depending on what the kids do here. I mean, it's a caveat. We don't know what the kids are going to do here, and what elder means. And I think as far as the right-handed bat, I do think Spencer Steer will come into play. So there you go, Alex. Go get Sonny Gray or Scooble. Go get Waka. Go get Steer, and we're going to go beat the Dodgers brains in, and we're going to win a world championship. Is that what we're
Absolutely.
saying, guys?
I like it.
Let's do it. We get out here. I do appreciate you coming on. Fans Roundtable. This is the best part of Fans Roundtable. This is when every one of them's gone on a soliloquy. I know these two guys. I talked to these two guys. I'm not sure they're going to go on a soliloquy here like one of ours did. He went on a 5-minute rant. But got anything to say about the Braves? How you feel about the Braves? The season, Adolfo. The floor is yours. Tell Braves country everything you want to tell them.
It's July 4th. The Braves are going to be okay. We have to trust in Alex Antopoulos to make the smart move, not the what everybody wants move. Because if that would be the case, it just doesn't work like that. I think that the Braves hold firm right now. They build a good lead, 4 or 5 games versus on by the Phillies, and take a few days off during the All-Star break. Enjoy our Braves that will be there, that should be there, and participating. And it should be a heck of a run here, July, August, September to October.
I agree. I think we're going to have playoff baseball, and that's way better than what we went
Absolutely.
through last year, Clark. So, what do you got? What do you got to finish off the program?
No, I agree with Adolfo. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're right where we want to be. If you'd have told us we'd be right in this position at the start of the year, we would have taken it. Except for maybe Acuna being hurt. But he's coming back soon. I think that's going to be huge. And getting Baldwin back and getting those two guys setting the top of the order is going to be just massive. So, yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the year. I think we're going to finish it out, win the division, and challenge the Dodgers here, especially if we get another big-time arm. We'll be in great position to get us another championship, hopefully.
Yeah, and I'll get you out on this, Braves country. Spencer threw from 90 feet this week. That's huge in his PT. And I'm talking about Schwellenbach. I always have two Spencer. I always got to remember. Schwelly. And Alex has a whole month to see what Schwelly is. And I don't, no offense to, other than Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal is one of the best pitchers in baseball. But he does have that elbow thing that does worry me as well. There's nobody going to be better than Schwellenbach if he's healthy. So, depending on where our lead is, if we don't trade, he won't come back then, but he'll be here by the end of August, maybe at the earliest. If he doesn't make a move, that's telling Braves country Swelly's coming. I'm just telling you. If he don't make a big time move for a starter, it probably means Swelly's coming. And that's not going to be a bad deal either. So we'll get you out on that. Guys, I appreciate y'all coming on. I hope you had fun. And I really appreciate you taking the 4th of July afternoon, Adolfo and Clark. Y'all keep hollering at me. Let's go Braves. Let's go beat the Mets. And it's always fun at the ballpark. And we'll get out of here. We love you, Braves country, and peace.
You know what, boys? You guys are going to be world champions for the rest of your life.